I don't think I really knew how to pray for a person in my life, if I'm honest. Because I hadn't had any healthy relationships, really. So I didn't know how to pray for a Christian husband. But I knew that I wanted to be with someone who loved God. I knew that I wanted to be with someone that wanted to laugh, who loved people. And I hoped that they were tall and had hair.
There was an amazing woman who was doing ministry in my world, and our paths crossed. And in a very beautiful, awkward, messy, honest series of events, our lives came together. It was not traditionally romantic. I was a single dad with a 3-year-old son, and our first date was running around doing errands, going to the dog park, and watching Thomas the Tank Engine 6 times.
And I called my dad and I said, I think I just talked to the guy that I'm gonna marry. So I tell him about Don and he goes, I hear apprehension in your voice. And I said, well, Dad, he has been married and he has a son. And he goes, okay. And I go, well, that's messy. It's not a very cleaned up place to come in to relationship. He goes, but if it's what the Lord has for you.
And from that, God began to build community around us and hope around us. And 6 months of dating and 6 months of engagement, our lives came together.
You know, the first couple years of marriage was hard for us because we had a lot of battles in front of us. And it was, at the very beginning, a realization that if we couldn't figure out how to be for and with one another and have Christ in our relationship, we were gonna burn down. We didn't have the skills.
God kept refining us and surfacing and blending, and it was beautiful and messy and good. God had this thing that he was baking into us, and he was sorting us and chopping us and whipping us around and heating us, but it felt like he was up to something good.
Over half of our refrigerator are sauces in our refrigerator because Don loves flavor. He loves flavor on anything. It's this art and science, right? It's like these putting things together, and it's an art because of the beauty of how it comes out, but it's a science of going, what are the things that we need to mix in order for something to be better? These components are good separate, but together, wow, look at what happens when you add minced garlic to it. It's beautiful.
And about 10 years ago, God asked us to step in and speak at a marriage event. And I resisted because I'd been through a divorce. I told God to get someone else, someone more qualified, someone with a better reputation. I thought God would take my advice, but he didn't.
I remember when he got off the phone, he said, hey, some folks asked us to speak together on marriage. And I said, they asked you to speak. And he goes, no, they asked both of us. And I said, yeah, I don't want to do that.
I told Renee, let's go one time and we'll speak, and they'll realize that we have a very broken, messy background. We won't be asked back. That'll be good.
So we prayed about it, and I said, okay, I'll do it with you. Now, what's funny now, looking back on it, is I backed out of that another 15 times.
He kept asking, encouraging, convicting us to go anyways. We did, and God seemed to do something in and through our history. So we got asked back again later when we went back. And we've been coming back for 10 years. And as long as God has something he's up to, we want to say yes to that.
Some of what even the desire to do what we do now is because we have to figure out how to be with one another, how to find the Lord in this, how to see where the enemy's coming to separate us. We have to see what marriage is really about. We have to learn how to have good fights. We have to learn how to get to the other side of things. We have to cheer one another on. Like, all these things were brand new concepts of understanding how we can be in marriage. But they came at the very beginning, from the very beginning of our marriage relationship. And we felt ill-equipped. We didn't feel like we knew what we were doing. And that felt scary and dependent on God and figuring out how he could be in our marriage.
We have a relationship that is real. And we've got scars to prove it, and we've got hurts to prove it. And what we found is that every time we've gotten to the end of ourselves and each other, God has stepped back in and invited us again to believe and to commit and to confess and to step in. Every time we're done, we find out he's not done. Every time we say that's all we've got, he shows up and invites us to believe more. There's nothing more real than doing life together with a person and bringing your undone, imperfect lives together and watching how God takes the brokenness and can bring wholeness to our lives in spite of our brokenness because of who he is when we're willing. We've watched him do that, and it's felt humbling and holy, but we're thankful and we're happy. It feels like we have something that's real and good, and we're thankful that God's given us that.